Glad you're with us, AFR, presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
I appreciate it, bud. Have a good one.
Paul O'Neill.
Love you, Matt.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Muso. We're here, glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Oh, by the way, it's a hump day. Hey. Yep. So as Hester and Hanny are walking out the studio,
it's hump day.
I say, yeah, it's going to be a long day for old Muso there.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
My guy's got 1 foot on a boat in Lake Bruin already with a beer in his hand.
Hump day.
It actually might be a margarita to kick it off.
Whatever it is, it's got alcohol in it.
And a lot of it.
And I'll be darned if my guy right from jump,
Hump day.
he botches the drop.
It's hump day.
No, got a text. People should know not to text me right at 3 o'clock.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
I digress. Muso, by the way, Greg Stringfellow, 1 hour from right now.
Hump day.
Little Bourbon Dictionary later today.
It's hump day.
And Russ Mitchell in hour 3.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Lot to get to today. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Is it going to be a rough one for you there, Muse?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
I still have enough to do that I should be able to stay focused.
Okay. I mean, we're talking mornings and afternoons now for 3 days.
Yeah.
And you know after today you're on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, we're 2 hours and 58 minutes till you're out the door and you're on vacay. How long are you out for?
I'll be back on, I will stumble my way back in here at 5:30 on Monday morning.
Okay, so just Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday. So long weekend, basically.
Pretty
so
much.
then you're on OTB, and then the Brain's back next week.
Yes.
At least you're not going to Brain's vacationing in Arkansas. Like,
What?
yeah.
Where?
Yeah, Hot Springs.
Okay.
Have you been to Hot Springs?
Been through Hot Springs.
That's why you
Yeah.
said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because if you've been to Hot Springs, which I have, you'd realize not a super hot vacation spot. Not the name notwithstanding, hot. But I have a cousin, who got married in Hot Springs in June. Outdoor wedding.
Ooh.
Dry outdoor wedding.
Oh.
In Hot Springs in June. Had a hell of a good time. The best part was like the whole
Did you
wedding.
bring a flask?
The whole wedding, the whole wedding party, the whole reception just kept going out to the parking lot and coming back. I digress. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're with us here on this Hump Day edition of AFR. Greg Stringfellow is going to be with us in about an hour from right now. LSU equipment manager Greg Stringfellow, who is as responsible as anyone for the design of the LSU rings, which are absolutely gorgeous if you've not seen them yet. LSU, as they have done for more than a year now, just remarkable with their social media posts and all of the videos and all the content that they've put out surrounding these rings. So they did get 3, and a lot of people have asked why 3. By now you may know, but you get an SEC championship ring. That's one of the rings. And then the college football playoff awards a ring. And then the school designs its own ring. So hence the 3. Same was true in 07. I'm not 100% positive about 2003, but that was the case in 07 as well. So LSU, the football team, players, staff, all will get 3 rings, or did get their 3 rings yesterday. SEC, college football playoff, and then the school design ring. And I think overall they just did a magnificent job. One of the things that I thought was kind of fun was LSU posted an image of the 4 national championship rings side by side. And it did in some ways kind of look like children of a family. You have like the infant and the toddler and like the middle schooler and the high schooler. You can see like just how the size of the rings have grown. Even from the 2007 ring to now, it is remarkable how much larger it is. But a gorgeous job that they did. And if you haven't seen it yet, Cody Worsham, I thought, had a great write-up at LSUsports.net about the ring, about a lot of the details that went into the ring and designing them. In just things, little nuances like There are 16 round cut stones representing the 16 conference titles. There are 4 marquee cut stones representing the 4 national titles, 58, 03, 07, and then 2019. Right there on the face, you've got the national championship trophy with the LSU and the Go font across it with diamonds on it. Inside of the ring, you've got the interlocking LSU logo with the LSU standard of performance. On either side of the ring, I think they did a fantastic job. They've got Hold That Tiger on one side with the silhouette of the state of Louisiana with LSU in it, the team record. On the other side, it's got the team motto, the one team, one heartbeat, the year, and then sort of a silhouette of Tiger Stadium. Overall, I think they did a magnificent job designing these rings. Just gorgeous. A lot of heavy hands around the LSU football program after yesterday. The SEC championship ring, of course, they've got the 16 round cut stones as well to represent the 16 championship. The 16 championships on the inside of the ring. They've got the final scores of the games engraved inside of the ring. Similarly, they've got the team mantra, the helmet, the Go Tigers on it as well. The final score of the championship game. They just did. You could just tell there's so much thought, and it's similar to what they did with the national championship logo. How so much thought went into every detail. It's something that everyone can enjoy, and I know that LSU did release sort of wallpaper where you can have that wallpaper on your phone or your screen. And there is, I'll give them a plug here. LSU through Jostens is selling replicas. You can get replica rings, pendants, necklaces. So you can buy them at jostens.com/LSU football. We'll give them a plug there. So they are selling items with the national championship ring design on them if you want to go check it out through Jostens. Again, jostens.com/LSU football. Really well done. So Greg Stringfellow will be with us an hour from now to talk about the process of coming up with the championship rings. All right, glad you're with us here. If you want to join us, you can. You can tweet the show at Matt Moscona, at 1045 ESPN.
Hey, Twitter world.
Thank you, George Truly. I've been saying thank you, Juice, and I don't want to do that anymore because I don't want to mention him. But I will say George Truly.
It is George Truly.
It's George Truly. Thank you, George Truly. For those that don't know, on every video, OJ doesn't tweet. He just tweets videos, and in every video he says, "Hey, Twitter world, it's yours truly." And so it sounds like the way he mashes it together, like he's saying George Truly. And so people have come to start to call him George Truly. So that's what that is for those that are wondering. You can jump in the Bayou Ford Huddle. Facebook Live is there as well if you'd like to comment on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge Facebook page. And we're live on YouTube on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. So lots of ways to interact if you'd like to. I did want to take a second, if I could, to talk about yesterday's show open. If you missed it, I sort of blew a gasket. There was a state senator who wrote a letter to Bessie, the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, suggesting that they intervene and essentially supersede the LHSAA and disallow K through 12 in-person activities, be it practices, meetings, sports, everything. And I blew a gasket on that. And you never really know how things like that are going to be received, quite honestly, because sometimes the manner in which you deliver a message mutes the content of the message. And I'm very aware of that, having done this long enough. But sometimes you do have to make your point known in a very assertive way. And I will tell you that if you haven't seen it, it's out there. I mean, it's on my Instagram page. It's on the station. It's on my personal YouTube channel. I think it's on our Facebook page. It's everywhere. If you want to go see it, it's there. But you can go listen to it on demand if you want. But the reaction that I got was very affirming because privately I had scores of educators, parents, coaches, both elementary, high school, and college. I had head college coaches text me to say, thank you for what you said. I think a lot of people feel like their voice is being muted in some of this conversation. And I know that I feel like everybody wants the same thing, which is for all of us to be healthy and get through this as best as possible. And maybe there's just different ways that we have or different ideas of how to do that. But my feeling about the entirety of the situation remains the same. And there's no guessing how I feel about everything right now. But I am very, grateful for all the people who have reached out and expressed their appreciation for how we started the show yesterday, because I think there's a lot of people who feel like their voice has been muted, and that was in part my intent yesterday was to speak and to speak loudly or scream, sometimes in a high-pitched voice. So anyway, thank you to everyone who listened, who commented, and gave me your feedback. I do sincerely appreciate it. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you are here with us. Let me knock out a quick break. One of the biggest names in college football has spoken out about the possibility of a college football season and did so in no uncertain terms today. We'll let you hear that coach's voice next on AFR.
AFR.
The best men's clothier in the best of 225, Carriages in Bocage. I did happen to have a birthday today, and my wife gave me my presents this morning, and among them were 2 shirts from Mizzen in Maine. They are fantastic. Get them at Carriages in Bocage, where they've been for 30 years, or online at carriagesbr.com, and they are gorgeous. You want to talk about flexible, breathable, stylish material, the most comfortable shirt you might wear? Check them out at Carriages in Bocage. They've just got amazing selection from the names and brands that you know and love. If it's Jack Victor or Stenstrom's or Brax, they've got you covered at Carriages in Bocage. Peter Millar Performance Gear, which are some of the most comfortable performance gear shirts that you wear. That's why year after year after year, Carriages continues to be voted by you the best men's clothier in the Best of 225 awards. So shop them online at carriagesbr.com or go see our friends at Carriages in Bocage.
Richards Honda is constantly looking for smart ways to make things easier for you. So we created our buy from home option. It's the easiest, most convenient way to shop for a car, all from the comforts and safety of your own home. Just log on to richardshonda.com, click on the buy from home button, and with a few simple steps, your new or pre-owned car will be ready for pickup or delivered right to your door. It's fast, easy, and smart. Try it today at richardshonda.com.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here on the Hump Day edition of AFR. You know you can always get involved. We appreciate you for being there. Facebook Live chat is open, so thanks for being there. Let's be honest, y'all. There's not a lot of people around the college football world that like Jim Harbaugh. He wears a boxy hat and baggy old man khaki pants. The glasses need an upgrade. He looks just kind of silly. And for all of the talk, the results haven't matched. Is this right that he's never finished better than third in his division since he's been at Michigan? It's an astonishing thought, but it's also their reality. And by the way, I'm not mad at Michigan. I think Michigan did 100% the right thing. You identify your guy and you go get him. You just don't take no for an answer. It just hasn't worked out. And there was a lot of reason to believe it would, right? I mean, Harbaugh had success at the University of San Diego. Then he went to Stanford and turned them into a winner. Went to the 49ers and went to a Super Bowl. I mean, there was a lot of reason to believe it would work. It just hasn't to this point. Maybe it will. It's not to say it won't at any point, but when you look at the contract they gave him, there's just going to be a lot of scrutiny, similar to the scrutiny Jimbo Fisher gets because of the contract he got and all of the hullabaloo surrounding his arrival there. So I get it. There aren't a lot of people that just think Jim Harbaugh's endearing, which is so odd, too, because as a player, like the whole captain comeback, Jim Harbaugh wearing the 4 for the Colts, like, when I was a younger guy, man, I dug that. Like, I really liked them. Man, there was that AFC Championship game where they played the Steelers in Pittsburgh in 95. Like, that was a killer team, that Colts. I love that Colts team. Anyway, so it's just kind of odd, though. But a lot of it Harbaugh has brought upon himself. But today, Jim Harbaugh was on a Zoom call.
That virtual Zoom, bro.
Thank you, Muso. And on this Zoom call,
that virtual Zoom, bro,
with reporters, Harbaugh was talking about the prospects of college football this season. And to date, Jim Harbaugh has now made the most assertive comments made by any high-profile coach or administrator about playing college football. Now, I want you to understand where I'm coming from. We've played a lot of comments from a lot of different people, from guys like E. Gordon Gee, who's the president at West Virginia. We've played comments from Greg Sankey and former coaches who are analysts now like Urban Meyer, and then younger guys like Greg McElroy. Ed Ogeron has talked about it. Phil Fulmer said they plan to play with a full stadium. I mean, we've heard from a lot of those people about logistics, right? What they think is going to happen, what they're planning for. It's another when someone speaks in direct correlation to the coronavirus and the role or impact sports may play in either the spreading of that virus or how everything therein might be perceived. And there's a lot of headlines, and you know how I feel about headlines. You've got to be more than a headline reader. And unfortunately, there are a lot of headlines right now that are being splattered about that are disingenuous in terms of what Jim Harbaugh said in its entirety. So we're going to let you hear all of what Jim Harbaugh said, but effectively, this is the biggest name or personality in the sport to date to take this angle when discussing the coronavirus. Here was Harbaugh talking about the responsibility that they have to players.
My thoughts would be, it's a different conversation if there's no students on campus. If students are on campus, my personal belief, and as a parent of a daughter who would also be on campus, that this is a safe place. I mean, as safe as possible would be, within our university, in our athletic buildings and complexes, the safety precautions that have been put into place. I would feel good with the oversight of the medical oversight for students, student athletes, students in general. I would want the responsibility of keeping our players safe and also educating them.
I would want the responsibility of keeping our players safe. But the most operative part there from Harbaugh is, one, his daughter goes to school at Michigan. He's the parent of a student. And he's saying, as a parent, which I think was sort of my point yesterday that many of you can very obviously relate to because you are parents with school-age children who are making decisions about the fall. So don't look at Jim Harbaugh, football coach. Look at Jim Harbaugh, the dad of a daughter who's attending Michigan. And he says, if it's okay for my daughter to go to school here in one of the largest public universities in our country, it might be the largest enrollment. No, Central Florida is. Isn't that odd, by the way? Central Florida is like 60,000. But it's Central Florida. Michigan's right there, though. But as the parent of a child, you're telling me it's okay for me to send my child to this campus, and that's safe, where they aren't going to be testing or enacting, mandatory protocols like social distancing or, the flow of traffic through buildings or whatnot, mask wearing. We're doing all of that in football, and we're testing more. So so that's his point initially, saying, you're saying it's safe for my daughter to go into an environment that isn't as restrictive as what we're doing in football. So why isn't this safe? And he went on to make the correlation about sports and the virus.
Now, if it comes to a point in time where you say that, we can't play, it's obvious, it's clear, then everybody would be reasonable and know that was the right thing to do. But, COVID is part of our society. It wasn't caused by football or caused by sports. And there's no expert view right now that I'm aware of or that are, agreeing expert views that, sports, is going to make that worse. It's part of our society, and we're going to have to deal with it.
So that's another point that I think a lot of people are going to consider. Sports didn't cause COVID, obviously, but to his point also, is sports going to make the virus itself worse? And he's right in saying that there's a healthy debate, but there's nothing definitive right now that suggests don't do this. I mean, I look up to my right, and they're playing basketball in TBT, the basketball tournament in Ohio. There's NASCAR going on. There's UFC, and there's live boxing 2 nights a week, and golf is playing, and soccer has been playing internationally, and there's baseball in Japan and Korea, and Major League Baseball and the NBA are resuming. The Pelicans left today for the bubble in Orlando. So we're seeing sports all over the place resume, and you say, well, Matt, all of those are pros. Well, like we talked about, look on any youth league field around the country, and you're seeing kids from T-ball up through high school playing games right now and going to tournaments and trying to enact certain protocols. So the point is, it's happening everywhere. Why are we holding college football to some sort of different standard? And you could say, well, what about 100,000 people in the stadium? That's not what we're talking about. Fans in the stands is a different conversation, and maybe we'll have that conversation at some point. We're talking about playing the games. And that's what Jim Harbaugh's talking about right here, not fans in the stands. He's talking about, why can't we play the games? Everyone else is playing games right now. And he continued with one more about the need for students to progress.
These kids have to do the same thing. They've got to go to school. They've been training their whole lives for the opportunity to play their sport. And, that's my view with the knowledge that we have and time to learn more about it, that it would be my responsibility, our responsibility, and the players' responsibility also, keep themselves safe, and also, get the schooling and the training that they need.
One of the messages I mentioned yesterday on my show open, where I talked about the necessity of students to be able to do things outdoors and have some sense of community and interaction, and also for their mental and physical well-being to get out and about. One of the messages, I told you I got a lot of messages from educators, administrators, coaches at every level. And one of the messages that I got from a longtime educator, I'll leave this person's name and qualifications out. I just trust that you would trust that I wouldn't throw out something frivolously. This person said to me, Matt, my impression is long after this pandemic is over, Studies will show that children and adolescents suffered the most. Mental health, well-being. Children and teens thrive on structure, routine, positive reinforcement. What provides that? Organized sports, school-sponsored athletic, club sports. Went on to talk about their family as well and how grateful that they were when their children were able, whenever we moved into phase 2, and their children were able to get out and participate in some sports as well, and how good that's been for their mental and physical being. So I guess my point is, it's Jim Harbaugh saying something in the way he approached and the tact he did today I thought was spot on, because it wasn't just, by golly, we got to go play our foosball because, macho, bang heads together bravado. It was a very tactful way that he approached it. And I think that's something that many of us could appreciate if you could put aside the boxy hat and the baggy khakis and the ridiculous glasses and the, losing to Ohio State every year, and just listen to what the head coach at Michigan is saying. And I think that's the conversation right now that I would be open to. Not yelling about the virus or stats or positive tests or whatever. It's with what Jim Harbaugh said, essentially in 3 parts. 1, you're saying it's safe for students to go back to campus, and they don't have the protocols that we have in athletics. So why then is it not safe for athletes? It's 1. 2, sports didn't cause the virus, and we're seeing sports carry on. And there's nothing to suggest that just playing sports is going to make it worse. And 3, students need structure, and they need to move on and progress. Like, all of those things, I think, are very valid points. And if you wanted to offer something to the contrary, I would be so open to hearing it. But something from that tact I haven't heard yet, at least from the opposite side. And, yesterday on the show, I did my whole deal, but I'm a pebble. Jim Harbaugh's a boulder. You drop a pebble in the water, there'll be a ripple effect. You drop a boulder in the water, a lot more people are going to be affected by it and impacted by it. And it will cause much more disruption in conversation. I think it's a good thing. And we need more boulders who are willing to stand up and spark this conversation. And hopefully Jim Harbaugh's comments do that. All right, it's after further review. If you want to react, please feel free to join us. 499-1045 or toll free 844-568-MATT. 844-568-6288. You can tweet me at Matt Moscona.
Hey, Twitter world.
Thank you, George Truly. You can join us in the Facebook chat, the YouTube chat, Facebook Live on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Same with YouTube, 104.5 ESPN. Or you can always email the show, matt@1045ESPN.com. It is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Pluckers, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. We will chat with Greg Stringfellow in 32 minutes from right now. We appreciate our friends over at Pluckers with 2 locations, Nicholson just south of campus and Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. 24 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. I was actually talking to Darren James last night, and he said, man, I went to Pluckers last week for the first time ever. He said, my 2 favorite sauces are medium and lemon pepper. He's like, I'll be doggone. They combined the 2 and made a sauce. My tongue did a backflip in my mouth and slapped me in the brain. That's what Darren said to me. But point is, you can make your own sauce or try any of their award-winning sauces at Pluckers, where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. All right, quick break, y'all. When we come back, we'll go around the SEC. Stay here.
AFR.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Ochsner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Ochsner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Ochsner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Hey T-Bob, sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans, so we're highlighting the fans that do it the most.
Every week, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out, 1045ESPN.com.
It's the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, rolling along. We'll do some Bourbon Dictionary here on a Whiskey Wednesday with Taylor Calandro about 12 minutes or so from right now. Glad to have you aboard with us again. Greg Stringfellow, LSU equipment manager. He'll be with us in about 27 minutes. Start hour 2. He was one of a triumvirate that designed the LSU championship rings. We're talking about what all went into that, so that's coming up here very shortly. Glad to have you hanging out with us here as always. You might have seen this news today. Stanford has cut 11 varsity sports, and you may go, oh, sorry. That's actually literally how I sound at night, according to my wife anyway. But D1 members have now cut 56 sports. That's the most in 14 years, according to our friend Ross Dellinger over at SI. He tweeted out the numbers earlier today. If you go follow Ross Dellinger on Twitter at Ross Dellinger, 15 tennis programs have been cut. 5 GILF programs have been cut. I'm sure he meant golf, but he put GLF. Swimming 5, track 4, fencing 4, baseball 3, squash 3, 3 rowing, 2 soccer, 2 cross country, 2 sailing, 2 wrestling, and then 6 sports with 1 apiece: volleyball, don't tell me, skiing, softball, lacrosse, equestrian, and field hockey. So, in all, you're having obviously a time where a huge number of sports are being cut post-COVID as budgets are being crunched because a lot of teams aren't going to have revenue that they anticipated to be able to meet their budget. Similar to how businesses around are, unfortunately, closing their doors or laying people off or furloughing employees, similar with athletic departments. So Stanford cut 11 varsity sports, citing the pandemic as the breaking point. And they said in this letter to their Stanford community that funding 36 athletic programs was, quote, not sustainable. So 240 student athletes, 22 coaches are now out, 20 national championships won in these sports, 27 Olympic medals in the sports that are being cut. And by the way, Stanford says that they will honor the academic scholarships for their athletes, and coaches will still have their contracts honored. But Stanford was going to lose about $12 million this fiscal year, and over a 3-year projection, they looked at about a $70 million cumulative shortfall. I want to tell you this. First of all, it's going to be very difficult for Stanford to win the Directors' Cup anymore. They've won it literally every year since the 94-95 school year, in large part because they fund 36 sports. It's easy to win when you're funding 36 sports. I digress. But to be very clear, I very much feel for Stanford student athletes and their coaches. Something we talk about often with respect to Title IX is there's two parts of this conversation. One, absolutely, there are men's sports that have been cut as a result of Title IX that would otherwise still be continuing. Things like wrestling or soccer, men's soccer at LSU have been cut because of Title IX, because of funding. However, there's an equality issue that you could look at. I've shared this story with you before. I was speaking at an LSU mass comm class a couple of semesters ago, and there was a young lady in the class who's a track and field athlete, and she said she's the first person in her family ever to go to college, and the only reason she was able to was because of her athletic scholarship, being able to run track and field, which is incredible. So think about the culture-changing benefit of Title IX for that young lady and multiply that exponentially over the years and how many student athletes and young women it's benefited. It's hard to calculate or even begin to think about how to calculate all that. I digress. So I am very sympathetic for the student athletes who are having their sport cut, and of course the coaches who they and their families will now be uprooted and have to look for new jobs and find a new way for income. But let's get real for a second. These are programs that were already losing money. They're not money makers, so just putting the team on the field is losing you money. But for Stanford, of all places, to stand up and say that running these 36 programs, quote, not sustainable because they were going to lose $12 million this year and $70 million over the next 3 years. I got news. Number one, do not be deceived. Number one, these programs were going to lose money anyway. They're not money generators. They're going to lose money anyway. You know that as soon as you field the teams. Number two, Stanford's endowment is the third largest in America, behind only Harvard and Yale. Do you understand this? Stanford's endowment is $27.7 billion. $27.7 billion. Let me put this into perspective for you. Stanford could build SoFi Stadium. You know, the new place where the Rams and the Chargers are going to play out in Inglewood that looks like a spaceship? You know, the one with a $5 billion price tag where we go, oh my God, $5 billion. Stanford, with their endowment, could buy that stadium cash. No financing. Like, do I make it out to you or to cash? Like, Stanford could buy that cash and still have $23 billion left in their endowment. Don't let anybody, any suit at Stanford today, tell you this is a financial issue. They were looking to cut these sports anyway, and this is their easy way out. Because if anybody in the country could afford to fund 36 sports or whatever the hell they wanted, if Stanford wanted to build a brand new campus out of solid bleeping gold, Stanford could do it. Don't be deceived, y'all. Well, we got to get rid of that squash team. I feel for the squash coach and the squash athletes. But don't buy that crap from Stanford, of all places. You don't want to have the sports, fine. Don't use a global pandemic as your convenient out to get rid of a sport you didn't want to fund anymore anyway. Stanford. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, online, theantiagingclinics.com. You got body hair that you want to get rid of? Men, shoulders, back hair, you know the drill. You want to get rid of it? Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Laser hair removal all this month. Buy 2 treatments, get the third absolutely free. Ladies, you want to never shave your legs again? What did he say? You want to never shave your legs again? Laser hair removal on your legs. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. All this month, buy 2, get your third treatment free at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. Online, theantiagingclinics.com. Do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Serious story. Alabama offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian underwent heart surgery last week. He is expected to make a full recovery. 46 years old, his condition was discovered during his annual physical. So Sark and the Tide, of course, last year started as the Crimson Tide's offensive coordinator after spending the previous 2 seasons, same position with the Atlanta Falcons. He'll have Mac Jones and Bryce Young in his quarterback room this year. He is expected to make a full recovery, but scary moment for Steve Sarkisian, who had heart surgery last week but is expected to recover.
The Missouri Tigers.
Wide receiver Kamari Thompson has entered the NCAA transfer portal. He's leaving the Missouri football program. Former 3-star member of the class of 2018. Did not catch a pass during his time in Missouri. He's a Georgia native. So he'll have to sit out the 2020 season if he transfers to another FBS school, but then would have 2 years of eligibility remaining starting in 2021.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia finally got another commit. Had a large dry spell for Kirby Smart and the gang. Georgia got a commitment from 4-star Jamon Dumas Johnson, projects as an inside linebacker, 6'1", 235, third linebacker commitment in Georgia's class. They only signed 1 linebacker last year, so Kirby's loading up there. They got 10 commits for 2021. Dumas Johnson is the number 214 overall prospect, the number 11 player in Maryland, 14th best outside linebacker in the country. Georgia beat out Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Maryland, and others for Dumas Johnson.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
And Vandy is slowly trying to milk away its athletic department. Incredible. Vanderbilt, their athletics communication department is being absorbed by the university, and key positions have been eliminated. A longtime football and track and field SID, Larry Leathers, has accepted a buyout from Vanderbilt. Alan George is now the Associate Athletics Director for Communication. All employees in the Athletics Communications Department will be given the opportunity to reapply in September for jobs in the new structure. But Vanderbilt is getting rid of its Sports Information Department. There you have it. That is around the SEC. I mean, Vanderbilt does not want to win, y'all. They don't have an athletic director. They don't have a sports information department. Like, they have a football stadium that they absolutely refuse to renovate. Like, they're just here for the check. Scribble a W on your schedule and just make sure the check don't bounce come June. Unbelievable.
Need to get rid of that baseball team next.
I would be down with that.
They need to do that.
They have somehow,
eliminate that program.
They have somehow stumbled into great success in baseball. But I mean, I know how they've done it. But and you make a good hire in Tim Corbin, and he's won, and then it's worked because they got a lot of money. But I digress. Yes, get rid of Vanderbilt, and in the meantime, can LSU absorb Kumar Rocker?
Yeah,
can we do that?
I like.
Let's do that.
Yes.
Let's do that for a year. All right, it's After Further Review.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, powered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company all in one place. You know where to find them at agent225.com. Agent225.com. When you think real estate, think Darren James. Buying or selling. When you think real estate, think Darren James. It doesn't matter if it's commercial or residential. If you think real estate, think Darren James. Right now, get to the website, agent225.com. Our listings right there. You'll see every home listed by Darren and his team, but every home listed by every company, all right there. Darren James has perfected his process. His process is what allows him to provide you the best possible service, the best possible experience, and results. Because let's get real. That's what everybody wants. If you need to sell your home and you want to do it quickly for top dollar, you need the guy that sells more homes than any other realtor in Baton Rouge. You need Darren James. 335-7666. 335-7666. Think real estate? Think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
They're the gang with the slang. This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
All right, let's chat. It's a Whiskey Wednesday. We welcome aboard our buddy Taylor Calandro, wine and spirits director over at Calandro's 2 locations in Baton Rouge. How are you, dude?
Good, Matt. Just living a dream today.
Hey, man, if you were going to give someone a whiskey for a birthday present, what would you give them?
Oh, is there a price limit?
Let's just say it's maybe someone who's a friend and acquaintance of yours. Maybe you do like weekly radio with them and you know he happens to love whiskey a lot and you're trying to find something really cool. Like, what would you give that person?
Is it your birthday today?
That's indifferent or irrelevant. What would you give that person?
What would mellow corn.
You're a jerk is what you are.
Is it your birthday today?
It is. It is. I was setting you up to say something really nice, and then I was going to hit you with, I'll be over there at 6:05 to pick it up. Hey, man, but seriously, I get asked that all the time. people say all the time to me, they're like, hey, give me a good whiskey that I can give someone as a gift. Like, what would you recommend, like, let's say in that sort of $50 price point?
My go-to recommendation for $50 is Blade and Bow.
Okay, that's a really popular one, man.
$49.99. It's a nice, easy drinker, but it's got a lot of flavor, and it's got collectability with the keys. There's 5 keys, which are the 5 keys to making bourbon, but they have 5 numbered keys. So
I did not know the keys were collectors. That's really interesting.
yeah, on the bottle, if you look around the bottle, it'll show you what the first key's for, the second, and then there's 2 keys. But all the keys are different.
Very interesting.
The 5 keys to making bourbon.
Give me another one. So Blade and Bow, what else in that price point would you recommend?
Something Knob Creek probably.
Yeah, Knob's really good.
Yeah, I mean that $50 price range has some really heavy hitters that you can get a good value out of for sure.
Is that the sweet spot, right? In that sort of, because sometimes people say, "Hey, man, I'll spend like $100," and I'm like, I'd rather you not spend $100. I'd rather you buy 2 $50 bottles than something that's overpriced. Because anything that's $100 that's really good, you're probably not going to find.
Yeah, and I mean in bourbon, you're having to search hard to even find $100 bottle on a retail shelf. It's not an easy thing to do. And when people say that, I want to spend a lot of money, $100, $150 on a bottle of bourbon, I'm like, you can get 2 or 3 really good bottles for $150. I don't want to put you on a $150 bottle. I mean, there's good. I mean, like let's just say Kentucky Owl.
Mm-hmm.
That runs up in that price range, and I would suggest that. But I'm of the opinion that you should buy multiple bottles for that price instead of one.
I agree with you. And look, like we've talked about the Kentucky Owl Rye, right? The 11-year rye, which pushes up near $200, which is an incredible high-end rye whiskey if you're looking to spend that. But not everybody's looking to spend that. Not everybody would appreciate it. You and I were chatting about this earlier. Rolling Stone magazine put out their list of the top 10 must-try whiskey brands to pick up right now. And the number one on the list is one that you're going to be super familiar with because this is one that's just skyrocketed in popularity here of late. It's the Henry McKenna Single Barrel 10-year, McKenna 10. What is it, Taylor, about this that has caused the frenzy around McKenna 10?
It's pretty easy. Well, first of all, it's an age-stated whiskey, and that has a little bit to do with it, and it had a little popularity before. But in I think it was 2018 San Francisco Wine and Spirits Festival, it won Best Overall Whiskey in the World, which is, or no, maybe it was Jim Murray's. I can't remember.
No, it was. I'm looking at it right now. You're right. You were right. It was San Francisco.
It was San Francisco.
Yep.
So San Francisco Wine and Spirits Festival, huge alcohol festival that they give awards out for a ton of different categories, but it won Best Whiskey Overall, which generally goes to a Scotch or a Japanese whiskey. It's very rare that it's a bourbon, and it had been a bourbon for a few years. So, but it's good. But winning the award, after it won that award, that's when it took off, and it's allocated and it's hard to get.
How much do you get? Because people, I try to tell people if you see it, buy it, and I actually buy 2 so you can sell one to me. But how much of the McKenna 10 do you get?
We get, I mean, it's once every couple weeks we'll get a case.
Okay.
It's not quite as rare as Blanton's. But it's getting harder to get.
Yeah, it's going the way of Blanton's. You saw the same list I did, the whiskey brands to get to know. Something else on that list or something not on the list that you would recommend people try that maybe is on the way up?
Well, something on that list, I just looked at that list. 2 things caught me off guard. Well, one of them was the Indian whiskey, the Paul John.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of, I guess they're just trying to branch people out. But the chicken cock.
Mm-hmm.
We sell chicken cock, and it was kind of off-putting that being on the list.
I'm sorry, that just sounded funny.
The chicken cock.
Hey, don't celebrate it. I'm making a point.
No, but I was good. I mean, everything on that list, I'm like, oh, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I saw that. I'm like, that is so crazy. I still have not tried chicken cock, so I don't even know what it tastes like. But it's from a really old distillery. That just kind of caught me off guard. I don't know. It's like a pre-prohibition distillery.
Musso's going to clip you saying, I have not tried chicken cock, so I don't know what it tastes like. That'll probably be your drop now. Heretofore.
Hey, that's fine with me. I don't care. That's awesome. That'll work.
He is Taylor Calandro. This is Bourbon Dictionary on AFR on a Whiskey Wednesday. You get by and see him at either Calandro's location, Segan and Perkins, or, of course, the Mid-City location just down the street from us on Government Street. Always enjoy the chat, man. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
All right, man. We'll see you. It is After Further Review. Greg Stringfellow joins us next as LSU got its ring. He was part of the design team.
AFR.
Love telling you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. If you're in need of energy-efficient replacement windows, if you've been looking during quarantine at your entry door to your home and going, thing is rotted, look down at the corners, the color's all faded, call Relief Windows. Maybe you're looking at the exterior of your home thinking, God, it's time to do something about this. Siding from Relief Windows. They do windows, doors, and siding. They do it all, and they do it better than anybody else. It's the quality and the service that's going to set Relief Windows apart. I'll tell you flatly, they'll never be the cheapest. They can't be the cheapest. When you provide the quality of product, of service that they have, the warranty that they offer, they can never be the cheapest. But you get what you pay for, and that's true with Relief Windows. Highest quality windows, door, siding you'll find anywhere, and the best service you'll find anywhere. It's Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 for only $30,400 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hour number 1 of AFR in the books. Hour 2 coming at you here in about 50 seconds or so. Major League Baseball completed its intake coronavirus testing. It yielded only 66 positive results out of 3,740 tests. 58 players, 8 club and staff members. That is according to an email obtained by Marley Rivera at ESPN, a 98.2% negative rate for Major League Baseball. As you heard Matt touch earlier in the show, Stanford eliminated 11 varsity sports out of 36. They included men's volleyball, wrestling, fencing, and rowing, among others. Get over to the After Further Review YouTube channel, subscribe, and hit the bell. That'll notify you anytime we post content from the show that you might have missed. Could be rants, interviews, or segments. It's all at the After Further Review YouTube channel. Hour number 2 of AFR starts right now.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After Further Review.
Say one more time.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2. Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Miuso. 2 hours left, Muso. Then Muso hits vacation. Actually, 2 hours left ever for Muso on this show.
I'll be back. You're not getting rid of me that easy.
You're probably right. Hey, man, the way I go through producers, Brain thought he was rid of me, and like 18 months later, hey, Brain's
Guess
back.
who's back?
Yeah, guess who's back. So, yeah, give it 6 months or so. He'll be back. All right, glad to have you hanging out with us here. What a cool day yesterday, man. LSU, the football team, got their national championship rings, and they are gorgeous. If you've not seen them yet, they got 3 rings, an SEC ring, the college football playoff ring, and then the ring that LSU designed. And, man, I'm telling you what, they did a bang-up job. Greg Stringfellow, LSU equipment manager, was part of the triumvirate that designed those rings. Cody Worsham did an awesome piece up at lsusports.net right now if you want to read it on that whole process. But G-String's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Hey, man, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing today?
Doing awesome, man. So you all started designing the rings before the championship game?
Well, I don't want to put the cart before the horse too much, but, I do a lot of things in our job and my staff. We do a lot of things to prepare for all situations that come up to make sure when the situation arises, we're ready for it. And that was just one thing that we did. We didn't go full bore on designing, but we did a lot of research on designs during the season, looking at other world championship rings from around the world that kind of caught our eye and said, these are pretty cool aspects. If we have the chance to finally do one, let's get it done. So we were actually working through different parts and pieces of it all the way through the month of December. And then in January, really kind of starting to get people involved. So we really didn't get like the ring companies or players or coaches or anybody else involved. We kind of just had the 3 of us that me, Derek, and Lewis that kind of just would sit down sometimes when we're talking and say, what do you think about this ring? What do you think about that ring? What do you think we need to put on? What should it have on it? So it really, let's not say we were putting pen to paper necessarily, but we were definitely brainstorming some stuff, especially after we knew we won the SEC championship and we could go ahead and design that ring.
I love it. What were some of the rings that you looked at that maybe served as inspiration?
We look at all the NFL rings. We'll take bits and pieces. The artwork that goes into a baseball or basketball or even soccer world championship ring has a really lot of cool elements. And we wanted to try to kind of use some of those bits and pieces with the changes in colors and stones and some of the technology that the ring companies have now to kind of really dig through and say, that's a pretty cool side. Let's try to do something like that on the side, or let's do the top similar to this shape and all that. But one thing we definitely didn't want to do is we kept up all the past champions rings from college football. We got 10 years worth of information on the past champions rings, even including our rings. And one thing we didn't want to do was be a replica of any of those rings that were out there. We wanted to have our own unique ring, and that's one thing that we try to do constantly. So that's kind of where the process gets going from.
Greg Stringfellow is with us, LSU equipment manager, part of director of equipment, of course, part of the process of designing the LSU championship rings. So I saw the really cool picture, the side by side of the 4 LSU national championship rings. Did the other rings serve as any inspiration for this one?
Absolutely. There's bits and pieces of all those rings that we want to make sure that we include. The way that logos look, make sure that we're improving that and giving our brand exactly how it's supposed to be operating on a ring. The stadium piece. If you look at the 58 ring real close, and I was very fortunate, Bunny Cannon helped me out and allowed me to use Billy's ring as kind of a sample.
Wow.
And used it to take pictures with, because we really, typically Warren Rabb is our Jostens rep here in town, and he obviously is the quarterback off the 58 team. So anytime I need a 58 ring, he's wearing his constantly so I can get my hands on it. But I just thought it was cool. That would be a cool thing if we could get Billy's ring and Joe's ring together as our 2 schools Heisman Trophy winners. And so that was the 58 ring we used this time in our pictures with 58 rings. We go through the history of rings. I ask Coach Nader every time we do this to bring in his rings. He's got rings going all the way back into the 70s. And there's some really cool rings that he has from the 70s and 80s, and we want to make sure we look at those and see if we can continue that history and pull some of that stuff in. His 1977 Sun Bowl ring is one of the coolest rings. It's got a bright purple stone that kind of shimmers in the light with a tiger, an old school tiger head on it. And it's really neat, and it's kind of, that purple stone is something we try to replicate, and it's been hard to do. And I think that the ring company really knocked it out this time to try to get that purple stone on top of a ring. So, we go through history and look at all of our rings, the 58 ring having the stadium on the side of the ring, because the top of the 58 ring, if you ever look at it close, is Tiger Stadium. Everything about Tiger Stadium is built into that ring, from the press box to the stadium to the portals. It's a lot of detail on the top of that 58 ring that I always think is a really cool ring.
We're looking at it right now. For those watching us on CST or on our Watch app, you could see obviously the ring to the far left is the 1958 ring, and you could see all the detail. Something great that I've never even noticed, but I'm so glad you pointed that out. The other thing that's really cool I'm looking at with the current ring is sort of on the side. It's built like the arch entries of Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
How many?
If you can see. If you look at it close, it's a view from the north end zone. So you see the scoreboard and the arches underneath it in the stadium. And then you'll see all the way into the south where the new south upper is in the distance, as you can see, looking through the stadium. So they'll have all levels of south. They'll have the sidelines correct. So really there's a lot of detail in the side of that ring.
Which details, I'm trying to think of the way to ask this, but which details were the most difficult to work through?
It's hard to say because each ring has its own little challenges. The CFP ring is probably the easiest one because they give you a standard look and say, here's what it's going to look like. You get a little bit of action on the sides. So really, it's not as finely tuned, I guess you could say. It has everything we want on it. Being able to put the purple stones on top will be the first team that ever were able to do that in the CFP era, to put our school color. And really, that kind of, I'll say that's kind of a throwback to the 07 year when the BCS rings came out. It was a standard ring. This is what it was going to look like. Had a black stone with a crystal number 1 on it. And I asked in 07, hey, can we put a purple stone instead of black? And they're like, well, we'll try. So they actually, that 07 ring, the 07 BCS ring actually has a purple stone instead of the traditional black that they had for years and years. It's not as bright a purple as what we have now, but it is a purple stone. So that's where I kind of got the idea for the purple stones on top of that ring. The details on the sides of the national championship ring and some of the interior stuff that means so much to the team is kind of the important parts, I think you could say, with those little details.
A couple more minutes here with Greg Stringfellow. Was there anything that you all wanted to include in the ring or that you thought would be really great to include that you just, for whatever reason, weren't able to work it out?
It's funny. You're the fourth person that has asked me that question. And I really cannot think of anything that got left out just because we did have 3 canvas that we could use. So we were able to get just about every little detail LSU Standard of Performance, Hold That Tiger, One Team, One Heartbeat. We were able to get all those details onto the ring. And I think that that's the big deal, that we were able to that we were able to get all that stuff going, and having so many different canvases to work on really helped get everything we wanted.
I don't think we've yet talked about the SEC ring. Anything specifically about that ring that that people should know? We're for those watching, we're looking at it right here, and a lot of that stuff's included there as well.
Yeah. So the SEC ring, the cool thing about it is we wanted it to be a traditional ring. It's that gold tone, very traditional look. It's a huge ring. It's actually larger in size than the national championship ring.
Oh, wow.
Because of the shape of it, if you really sit them side by side. I will say the cool thing is the helmet logo on top of the ring. That's something that we've used in years past, several years back. But in the redesign of the new Tiger head and the helmet logo several years ago, one of the motivations behind redesigning it was the ability to replicate it in very small, fine detail. Because the old helmet decal, you really couldn't replicate it without it becoming a blob. So I'll say the cool thing is that one of the thoughts when we did that many years ago, redoing that logo, was that one day we would use it on the ring. And to be able to put it on a ring and have it come out so clean and so nice and be exactly what we wanted, that goes back to years ago when we redid that logo and saying that, hey, one day we want to make it small enough to fit on top of a ring, and now we did it. And that, to me, that's really special, being on both of those projects, the rings and redoing the logo many years ago, that we were able to pull that off.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, man. Hey, last thing before you go, time very much appreciated. So you go through this whole process. You say you started kind of sketching ideas in December, and then it all culminates with getting the ring. Did you see it for the first time yesterday, or did you see it before when they come in?
No. I've seen samples. I've seen all the artwork from day one. So, and really, we received the rings. Being the situation with being able to get groups together and stuff really made it difficult, because we really wanted to do this in April. Then the ring company had to shut their plant down in Texas, and we had to shut our operation down. And we really wanted to be around the spring game when we could bring all of the former guys back and have a real nice celebration. It just didn't work out. So really the timing of last night was an opportunity to bring guys back before they went to their NFL camps, an opportunity to say that we could get enough people together to make it special for the team. And it just worked where Coach wanted to do it at that time and make sure that these guys were appreciating it before we really get cranking on 2020. Because now we're into 2020 and we're really going full speed ahead, and having that closure to 2019 is very important. But we actually received the rings probably over a month ago, and that's when we were able to do all the digital content and photo shoots and stuff like that. But there were a very limited number of people that had seen them.
Makes sense.
Before last night. Nobody in the building had seen it besides Coach.
So you hadn't seen it either? Well, obviously you had.
No. I mean, like myself,
I got
Derek,
you.
Lewis, Coach, and some people on my staff that had to actually inspect them and count them in. They're organized.
Right. So last thing. So you go through this whole process of designing all the different meetings and the planning, and then you get it, you open the box, you look at it. Like, what's your reaction having been through that whole process to seeing the finished work?
It was kind of surreal in a way. And having done this several different times, you always hope that what they print on paper and what the pictures you get on your computer actually are accurate to the depiction of what's made at the final day. And they knocked it out of the park. Justin's knocked it out of the park. Really doing the details and getting it really finely tuned the way we exactly wanted it. And I will say that it really impressed me that what was written on paper and in digital content was produced perfectly. And I haven't found much of an error of what they drew and what they produced. So I think that that's a credit to them for doing a great job and spend a lot of quality time on it.
And we've mentioned this a couple times too, that fans can, if you want to buy a replica or a pendant, there's a lot of different options. If you go to Jostens.com, thank you, Paul, for putting that up. Jostens.com/LSU football. You can see it. So, Greg, the one on the far right, the replica ring, that's, I guess, as close to a replica as you could find of what the players got.
So I can't see what's on your screen right now, but I'm going to assume, because I've seen this graphic, we had to approve it a couple of days ago. The graphic, there's a big ring that has the trophy on it.
Yes,
all the way
that's
on
it.
The right side.
Yep.
That's actually a paperweight, and it's huge. I have one on my desk. It is enormous.
Wow.
It's a beautiful piece, but it'll probably be the only replica thing that looks identical or 90 80 to 90% like what the players' ring looks like. The fan ring and stuff like that is a knockoff of it that takes it down a level to a place where they couldn't use the CFP ring on the fan ring and stuff, the CFP trophy on the fan ring and little things like that.
Got it.
But that paperweight was really nice when I got one.
There's going to be
as a sample.
There's going to be a lot of LSU fans who have a heavy bleep item under their Christmas tree come December.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
That is going to be.
I hope so.
Oh,
man. That makes it better for everyone that the fans can appreciate it because, just like Coach says, without the fans, our team fed off of the fans so much during the season. Our players have said it, and that's where there's things in there to tribute to the people that support us so much.
That's awesome, man. Hey, Greg, we really appreciate a couple of minutes today, man. Job well
Absolutely,
done.
Man. It's good talking to you guys.
Yep, our pleasure, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All righty, that was Greg Stringfellow, LSU's director of equipment. He was part of a three-man team, which, of course, included our friend Derek Panamsky, that designed the rings. And you heard him kind of explain it all there. Cody Worsham did a phenomenal job on his piece up at LSUsports.net. If you want to go read it, I would highly recommend. I spent a good amount of time kind of diving into that. And you can tell I'm geeking out a little bit because I find all this stuff awesome and super fascinating and how much detail goes into working through all this. So go read Cody's piece at LSUsports.net. It's Perfect Fit. LSU's championship rings tells story for the ages. And he did an amazing job writing it and talking to a lot of the people involved. But sometimes you just have a different experience, right? Like when you're listening to the person who helped design it explain what was going through it all. It's just a different medium. And so we appreciate Greg for a couple minutes here. Old G String, Greg Stringfellow for a couple minutes. We appreciate him. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Come back. Little long there with Greg, but it was completely, totally worth it. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air. Make sure you call River City's 1 Hour Air. If you've not done so yet, it's not too late. They can still do the AC tune-up and rejuvenation. They come to your house. A technician schedules a time, comes to your house, and goes to work on that AC unit outside to make sure that it's clean, it's tuned up, it's running efficiently. It's just like what you would do, that seasonal maintenance, that service you would do on your car. Think of this like the oil change that you get on your car every 3,000 miles. You got to do it to make sure the engine stays healthy and you extend the life of it. Same with your home central AC. You want that thing to run for years and years and years and years efficiently. Make sure you're taking care of it. $97 for the preseason AC tune-up and rejuvenation from River City's 1 Hour Air. And remember, if you need a repair, mention the Moscona special. They'll save you $25. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
Get an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, thanks again to Greg Stringfellow for joining us. LSU got their rings yesterday. Really cool convo. Appreciate it for spending a couple of minutes. Russ Mitchell, about 1 hour from right now. Man, a lot of signs pointing up. I know if you missed today, the Ivy League did announce that they are suspending all fall sports. The thing to keep in mind with that is, and I do think this is an important distinction, why you might see more leagues like the Ivy League, meaning leagues that aren't a giant TV product, that rely heavily on gate admission, you might see those leagues follow suit with the Ivy League. I think it'll be interesting for the group of five, but what you've seen consistently from the Power Five is that no league will make a decision as a whole. Guys like James Franklin at Penn State made that very clear early on, where he said, we don't even need every member of our league to be playing in order to play. And it's clear conference commissioners have said we don't need uniformity among all conferences to play. This was when it looked like California's state system was essentially saying they may not be on campus in the fall, and if they're not on campus in the fall, then there aren't going to be any sports. So there was this idea that maybe the Pac-12 might not play, and that's when the SEC and Greg Sankey stepped up and said, hey, we don't need every league to play in order to play our schedule. And that's when you started to hear the rumblings about potentially, Bama's supposed to open against USC, and I think TCU's playing Oregon. So maybe if USC and Oregon aren't playing, Bama and TCU could play. Like, that's what sparked a lot of those conversations. So my point is, it's really disappointing for the young men and women that play fall sports in the Ivy League. I don't think there's any question that is just super disappointing for all of them to not get to have a season. I also think that's reflective of a financial decision. Because if you are a league that runs its league based on a gate receipt, and you're in a spot where you may not have fans, or you may not be able to invite enough fans to be able to cover your cost, then you're just a losing proposition. It's like if you're a business that's losing money every day, it's costing you money to open your doors, you make the decision to shut down. And it's unfortunate, but I think that's what some of these athletic directors are looking at in terms of fall sports, and I think you're going to see a lot of that because they need the gate receipt because they don't have massive 9-10 figure TV contracts like the SEC does or like the Big Ten does, that realistically, even if no fans went through the turnstiles at Tiger Stadium this year, just playing the games and being able to capitalize on the television revenue and the potential ad revenue, that's going to be financially a shot in the arm that these athletic departments are going to need. You can't just turn the spigot off completely from the football revenue. That's devastating. I mean, you're at Stanford, say that they're going to lose $12 million by funding those non-revenue sports that the 11 that they cut today, and over a 3-year projection, it's $70 million. Well, those sports are going to lose money anyway, but you need your cash cow to keep producing milk in order to fund all of these sports. Well, if you go to zero, now you're really up bleep creek. So you'll take a hit at the gate, but you'll still have the revenue from television, which you need to be able to fund anything in your athletic department. So, yeah, it's certainly disappointing for the Ivy League, but that's as much a financial decision for a league that that relies on its gate receipt more than its TV revenue. So, disappointing for them, but it's just not going to impact the Power Five, in particular the ones that have 9- and 10-figure television deals and media rights deals like the SEC does. It's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Oh, one more quick note on college football. This is it. I always tell you if a story advances, we'll keep you up to date with it. This is something that you might find interesting that will follow. ESPN has not yet named its new Monday Night Football team. We know Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland are not going to be on Monday Night Football this year. ESPN's made that announcement already. Well, apparently, they've been toying with the idea that we shared with you of putting Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit as their Monday Night Football team. That's if there was no college football. In the event that there's no college football, they could take that team of Fowler and Herbie and put them on the Monday Night Football game. Well, it's looking more and more like there is going to be a college football season. In what form? Does it start later? Their fans in the stands don't know, but there's going to be college football. Well, Andrew Marchand of the New York Post is reporting that ESPN is contemplating leaving Herbstreit on the Monday Night Football broadcast regardless. This would be a temporary solution because it looks like after the ESPN contract expires following next year, following 2021, Monday Night Football likely returns to ABC, and so that could be a whole new rebranding. But for this year, it looks like the leader in the clubhouse anyway right now is Steve Levy and Kirk Herbstreit. So Herbie would still do College Game Day. He would still do the ESPN primetime game with Chris Fowler on ABC. I said ESPN, but the ABC primetime game with Chris Fowler. And then on Monday Night Football, call the NFL game with Steve Levy. Calling college and NFL, not easy. I mean, that's just a brutal schedule in and of itself because if you think about it, you arrive in the College Game Day town on Thursday. You prep for that game and for College Game Day. You have game day Saturday morning. Hopefully for Herbie, it's in the same town. Otherwise, he's got to hop on a plane and go wherever he's playing the college football game, that night to call. And then after that game on Saturday, he'd have to jet Saturday night or Sunday morning to whatever NFL venue he's going to call Monday Night Football, spend all day Sunday watching games and preparing for Monday Night Football. And then, you want to talk about a whirlwind 6 months, it would be that for Kirk Herbstreit if he ends up picking up Monday Night Football on top of his College Game Day and Saturday Night Football duties. But nonetheless, I always say it beats digging ditches, man. If you're flying around calling college football games and talking to coaches and talking ball, that ain't a terrible way to make a living, especially when you make the kind of living Kirk Herbstreit does. But still, that is a hell of a schedule to keep. We'll keep you up to date as that advances. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Brought to you by Pluckers, title sponsor of our Hump Day shows all throughout the year. So glad you're with us. The Pelicans left today for the bubble. And Alvin Gentry is with him, and that's fantastic news. So if you haven't been keeping up with this, Alvin Gentry, of course, is 65 years old. He's one of the oldest coaches in the league. Mike D'Antoni of Houston is 69 years old. So Gentry had to be cleared to travel and to exist in the bubble. So they're Orlando bound right now, are the Pelicans. And Gentry was with the team today when they boarded the bus and left New Orleans for Orlando. So what happened with Gentry is he had to have multiple tests at a doctor's office and then ultimately was cleared after submitting the test and other paperwork to the NBA. So Gentry cleared to go to the bubble. Two Pelicans assistants will not be there. One because of a COVID threat. The other, Jamel McMillan, his wife just gave birth to a newborn son. So he's going to stay back with his young family, and I think that's understandable at this point. You're not going to leave your newborn child and and your wife at this point. So, in any event, interesting time certainly. But the New Orleans Pelicans are bubble bound in Orlando. You know what's really odd about it though? I was thinking about this earlier. We've talked so much about the NBA resumption, and they've gone through testing and stuff like that, and now today they're headed to the bubble. But even still, with them headed to the bubble today, they don't start play until 3 weeks from tomorrow. It's incredible. 3 weeks from tomorrow till they play the Jazz. It'll be Thursday, July the 30th. So I am curious of one thing. Number one, will the NBA teams going to the bubble be sort of an out-of-sight, out-of-mind thing for 3 weeks? Like, we talked so much about the preparation for this. Well, now they're all going into the bubble, and it's my understanding that coverage from reporters inside the bubble is going to be very minimal because what I was told is that reporters or their companies had to commit to having a reporter in the bubble for the entirety of the process. So you're talking about from now to October, and you had to pay for that reporter to be in the bubble, hotel, meals, all that stuff for that whole duration. There aren't a lot of companies that are going to foot the bill to send their reporter there. There was another option where a reporter could go and be just outside of the bubble, but what's the benefit of being in Orlando but not actually covering the event, right? So I think it's going to be odd because once they're inside the bubble, the coverage may be minimal. So even though there's been this giant buildup, we may have 3 weeks of relatively quiet times as it relates to the NBA leading up to the start of the games until they actually play on July 30th when the Pels tip off against the Jazz. So interesting time, certainly, and we'll follow it as the Pelicans 3 weeks from tomorrow will resume their season against the Jazz. All right, glad you're with us here. Hump Day edition of AFR. We're halfway home. 45 minutes from right now, Russ Mitchell will be with us, talk a little college football. Let me knock out a break. When we come back, some NFL. A prediction for 2020 Offensive Rookie of the Year. And wait until you hear this piece of audio. This 2-year-old piece of audio that's been dug up. It's resurfaced from Cliff Kingsbury about his former pupil, Patrick Mahomes. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Y'all, get out and plant something. At this point, it's good for the soul. It's good exercise. It's good for your mindset just to get into your yard, dig a little bit, and plant something. Add that pop of color from these beautiful flowers or trees or shrubs. They've got them at Clegg's Nursery with full greenhouses. And the other great thing about Clegg's is because they're local and so many of their flowers and plants and trees and shrubs are all grown locally, they're acclimated to South Louisiana. So it's not like a tree was grown in D.C., put on a box truck for 2 days and shipped down to Baton Rouge, right? So the life of that plant or flower or tree is going to be longer, the shelf life. Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Amazing selection. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Dude, I think Cliff Kingsbury is a savant, a Mensa. Is he smarter than all of us give him credit for? I mean, stunning good looks. He's parlayed mediocre, if not awful, football seasons into an upward trajectory. Did you see his crib during the NFL draft? I mean, he's winning in life. Maybe he's smarter than all of us thought. Do you remember when he was coaching at Texas Tech and insisted that if he had the first pick in the draft, he'd take Kyler Murray? Remember that? It's a thing that happened. And then he got the first pick in the draft when he was the coach of the Cardinals and drafted Kyler Murray. And then there was this. There's a show called The Tomahawk Show, hosted by Joe Thomas and Andrew Hawkins. Well, 2 years ago, April of 2018. Cliff Kingsbury was a guest on the Tomahawk Show. We played this audio on the show 2 years ago, and we might have laughed. At Cliff Kingsbury. Probably didn't. I think I've learned my lesson about that over time. Not of Cliff Kingsbury, but just of being too brash on some of the predictions. But 2 years, more than 2 years now, April of 2018, Cliff Kingsbury on the Tomahawk Show asked about Patrick Mahomes. Here's what he said.
Yeah, his arm talent is as good as, I mean, the best I've ever seen as far as just being able to throw from different platforms, different angles, off balance. So I think the sky's the limit. Yeah. I got to watch him 3 years in practice and he just made throw after throw. You're like, how did he do that? I truly believe he'll be, the highest paid player in the history of the game when his contract comes up. I think he's that good.
I truly believe he'll be the highest paid player in the history of the game when his contract comes up. Pretty good. Cliff? Hey, Cliff. How's Miles Brennan going to do this year? Can somebody get Cliff Kingsbury on the phone? Muso, have you checked out completely yet? How much time till you go on vacation, Muso? How much time do we have left? Counting down the seconds.
Looks like we have about an hour, 20 minutes.
Hour 20. How you feeling there, Muse?
Feeling good.
Yeah?
Feeling good. Yeah, I still got some stuff to take care of for the vacation anyway.
You getting out of here? Or have you mentally checked out already? Feels like you have.
No.
Looking over there. Got that glazed look over your eyes.
That's just because I'm tired.
You're dreaming of boat drinks and Jimmy Buffett songs. Well, there is a Jimmy Buffett song called Boat Drinks.
There is.
And maybe you're thinking about that Mai Tai with a little umbrella in it.
I don't drink Mai Tais. No.
It's got alcohol in it, Muse.
It does. It's true.
You drink whatever somebody hands you, bud.
I would try it.
See? Paul knows what we're talking about. Got him over there. 1 hour, 19 minutes till Muso heads to vacation and away from AFR forever. Should we do a farewell to you?
No, because I'll be back. Let's be honest. Something's gonna happen to where Brain can't do the show one day, and I'm gonna have to come do it.
It's not gonna be goodbye, but just so long for now.
Yeah. See you later.
That's what it'll be. See you shortly. Sooner than you hope, Muse. Sooner than you hope. Lance Zierlein, NFL.com, put out his picks for NFL Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Got Joe Burrow number 1, Clyde Edwards-Helaire number 2, but that falls in line with the Vegas odds. DeAndre Swift 3, Jonathan Taylor 4, Jerry Jeudy, Cam Akers, Justin Jefferson 7. The one that really surprised me, Tua Tagovailoa 8, then Henry Ruggs and Michael Pittman Jr. 9 and 10. We've talked about this enough when the Vegas odds came out. Burrow makes the most sense because he's going to be the day one starter. So unless if there is someone who just statistically pops, the guy who is the quarterback who puts up the best or the most accumulated stats, accrued stats, going to win it. That's why Kyler Murray won it. It's why Cam Newton won it his year, even though they were 5-11 that season. You don't have to have a winning season. You could, like RG3 did the year he won it, or like Vince Young did the year he won it. But otherwise, it'll default to a quarterback. Oddly enough, the last time a wide receiver won the award was Beckham, was OBJ in 2014. And there are only an NFC player has won Offensive Rookie of the Year 13 straight years, which was staggering to me. And Burrow is trying to do something that's only been done 4 times since 1990, which is win the Heisman and Offensive Rookie of the Year in consecutive seasons. Kyler Murray, RG3, Cam, and Eddie George, only since 1990 to win the Heisman, and then as rookies win the next year, win Offensive Rookie of the Year. So the one, though, that I'd keep an eye on as the outlier in this list would be Tua. It is fair to say that they got 3 quarterbacks on that roster with Fitzmagic, Tua, and Chosen Rosen. Is it Rosen, Chosen, Chosen Rosen? Chosen Rosen, yeah. One of those guys, one of the veterans isn't going to make the team. By the way, we need to find the Handegriff Rosen. Is that what you were looking for?
Exactly what I was going to look for.
Please find it. I'll stretch long enough to make sure that you find it. But it's going to be Fitzpatrick, Rosen, and Tua all in camp battling each other. We know Tua's got a roster spot. They're not going to keep 3 quarterbacks. So either Rosen or Fitzpatrick are going to be out of there. So which one will it be? I don't know. Then the question really becomes, can Tua win the starting job over one of those veterans? And if so, and start 16 games, then I think Tua's got a great shot to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But that, of course, is predicated on him winning the starting job because Burrow is going to be a day one starter in Cincinnati. So, it might be Rosen.
He's free.
Is that the only one you got? Oh, hit me with more.
Give him a shot.
Why should we give him a shot, Charlie? Why?
He's free.
Oh. How old is he? Oh, I got to get the whole rant. That was from our draft night companion show when Handegriff was deep on the whiskey, short on the sensibility.
He's free.
That also happened to be the same night where he chastised me for saying the Saints should sign Jameis Winston. That's when I was on the Saints should sign Jameis drumbeat. And everyone was laughing at me.
He also played with Muppets.
He did play with Muppets, didn't he? Boy, that was a lot of fun. We need to do that again. We need to get Hanny lit up again and have a companion show. Let's get him sloshed and have a companion show.
About anything. Just about anything.
Anything. Muppets even. Let's get the he's 24 years old was probably the best part of it. Because I think he said he's 24 bleeping years old is what he said, to quote. We're going to find that. Come back. We'll have some fun at Hanny's expense. And Muso will do This Day in Sports. Stick around with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Better coverage for less money. That's what Insurance Network of Louisiana provides. We all have to have auto insurance. We all have to have homeowners insurance. It's a law. And unfortunately, so many of us set up the auto draft from our account and we never look at it. And so many of us are overpaying and underinsured. Maybe rate increases and you just don't pay attention to it or you just dismiss it over time that accumulates. The time is now. The day is now. The time is right now. I'm gonna push you. I want you to reach over and grab your phone. Now, if you're driving, this is going to be tough. But I want you to reach over and grab your phone right now, and I want you to call Insurance Network of Louisiana. 293-0450. Punch it into your phone right now. 293-0450. I've been hearing Scone talk about that. Right now, do it. 293-0450. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana. Start the process of letting them shop to get you better coverage for less money. Do it now. 293-0450.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey T-Bob, sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans, so we're highlighting the fans that do it the most.
Every week, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out, 104.5ESPN.com.
It's the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janney King Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
Janney King, the king of clean.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
He's free. He's free. Free. If he sucks, who cares? Cut him. He's free. He's 22 years old.
Jimmy, how do you do it every day?
Give him a shot.
You thought about Rose and Vandergriff?
Free.
If it's free, it's for me. Come on, hey.
Charlie, would you give him a shot? Charlie, do you think
Is that the greatest digital moment in the history of this station and all the digital content that we've produced, from blog posts and companion shows and watch parties and whiskey and wine and everything? I mean, that's on the short list of greatest moments ever.
Yes, as great as Hanny was, this might be my favorite part.
If it's free, it's for me. Come on, hey. It's after further review. If you don't know what we're talking about, that was a moment during the companion show for the NFL draft that we did this year. And we, of course, were doing it all via Zoom because it was amid quarantine. And so,
that virtual Zoom, bro.
So I think Gordy and Ott were maybe in studio, and it's me and Hanny and Ronnie Rance. And I think Haldane was in there. Haldane was the other one. And we're all on this Zoom call. And
that virtual Zoom, bro.
Hanny started his defense of Josh Rosen. And here we go again. This is how it sounded.
He's free. If he sucks, who cares? Cut him. He's free. He's 22 years old.
Jimmy, how do you do it every day?
Give him a shot.
You thought about Rose and Vandergriff?
Free.
If it's free, it's for me. Come on, hey.
Charlie, would you give him a shot? Charlie, do you think
Every time I watch it, I've seen it a million times. It's like the first time all over again. If it's free, it's for me. Oh, God. Musso, tell people about LeBron's decision 10 years ago.
That did happen today.
Oh, God. It's my birthday. Like, LeBron did the decision on my birthday. I'll never forget the date. And then the day after, Dan Le Batard delivered the greatest rant in the history of sports talk radio.
He did. That was very, very good. But before we get to LeBron's decision, we can't do that yet because something important on this day happened before that, and it was on July 8th, 1973.
Did it involve Josh Rosen?
It did not. And I didn't have the drop queued up there,
can't
unfortunately.
because he's only 22 years old.
You need to just give him a shot.
Oh,
no,
man.
this involved the Texas Rangers and the Milwaukee Brewers. See, they had a doubleheader that day, and Texas Rangers manager Whitey Herzog accused mascot Bernie Brewer of stealing signs and helping Milwaukee win the game. They swept the doubleheader 6-4, 7-3 at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Bernie was new in 1973 and stood on a chalet above center field to watch the game, and allegedly also watched the Rangers catcher and clapped his costume gloves to relay the type of pitch to Milwaukee batters. The Brewers also claimed a 17-2 victory over the Rangers on July 7th. Bernie Brewer, ahead of his time.
I was not listening at all. I just was ready for you to get to the decision.
Now we'll get to the decision.
Okay.
Because that was in 2010. And LeBron hosted, or didn't host, but, put on a 75-minute television program to tell everybody what we already knew, that he was going to take his talents down to South Beach and play for the Miami Heat.
We didn't know that. Nobody knew that. That was a big surprise.
That was not a... Stop it.
Musso.
He was going to the Heat. Leading up to that, everybody said it's either going to be the Heat or Cleveland. And you knew he wasn't going to stay in Cleveland. At least I had no thought in my mind that he was going to stay in Cleveland. Dead serious.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but you're so incredibly wrong.
I had
nobody had him pegged for Miami.
I never thought he was going back to Philly.
You were a brilliant 15-year-old Musso, but like
that's about right, yeah.
Okay, go on.
Didn't anyway. It raised a bunch of money for charity though, and that's why it shouldn't be completely crapped on. Because it did raise $2.5 million for the Boys and Girls Club of America and $3.5 in advertising revenue, which went to other various charities. But 13 million people watched him say he was going to Miami, and that's absurd.
Michael Cobble just texted me, Musso isn't old enough to remember. Thank you.
I was 15 years old.
Wait, hold on, because I'm running out of time. The thing, though, that is the most lasting impact of the decision, I mean this seriously, is LeBron made mainstream the phrase, take my talents too. Every recruit, every says that now, and that was not a thing before LeBron said it 10 years ago today. Now everybody says, take my talents too. All right, hour 3 coming up next.
AFR.
Brought to you by GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. If it's free, it's for Hanny. GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Hanny has refinanced his mortgage and is financed with GMFS, as am I. GMFSmortgage.com. I've told you the story before. When Eric and I bought our first home, we just got married, didn't have any money. We were able to work out a 0 down, 100% finance loan. There are those products available. When we sold that house and bought our new house, Doug Bickley was right there with us every step of the way. GMFSmortgage.com. If you want to buy, to realize the American dream, if you want to sell, build your home, or maybe save money by refinancing your mortgage. If you know your rate, or if you're not sure, if it's above a 4, great time. As the Fed has lowered interest rates to historic lows, this is the time to lower your interest rate, refinance, lower your monthly mortgage payment. GMFS Mortgage can help. GMFSmortgage.com.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hour number 3 of AFR coming at you here, 50 seconds or so, 2 hours down already. San Francisco 49ers running back Raheem Mostert is now requesting a trade from the team, saying he is disappointed that it would come to this. It's over a contract dispute, unfortunately. This is the guy who led all NFL running backs in yards per carry and helped lead his team to the Super Bowl. Didn't fare too well in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, but did have a pretty solid season. Raheem Mostert, though, requesting a trade from the 49ers. The Ivy League canceled their sports in the fall. We talked about that in the last hour. And Major League Baseball finished their intake testing for the coronavirus. Only 66 positive tests, 98.2% negative. After further review, YouTube channel, get over there, subscribe, hit the bell. Find rants, segments, or interviews from the show that you might have missed after further review. YouTube channel and hour 3 of AFR now.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And for the final time, Muso. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Oh, by the way, it's Hump Day. Yeah.
It's Hump Day.
One more hour.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
One more hour.
Hump Day.
60 more minutes.
It's Hump Day.
58, actually.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
And if you factor in the adjacency, it's more like 53 minutes.
Hump Day.
And then
It's Hump Day.
Matthew Muso
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
will sail out of our lives forever.
Hump Day.
Not forever.
Not forever?
Not forever.
It's Hump Day.
And then Matthew Muso will sail out of our lives for an indefinite amount of time.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Until I fire Brain
Hump Day.
and he inevitably returns to this show.
It's Hump Day.
So next Tuesday.
Because let's face it, everybody,
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
I just can't keep a producer.
Hump Day.
We had Cade.
It's Hump Day.
We had Chest Hair.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
We had our dear friend Carly.
Hump Day.
Chad.
It's Hump Day.
The Brain.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Muso.
Hump Day.
And now back to the Brain.
It's Hump Day.
7 different times we've changed producers.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
7 times in 10 years.
Hump Day.
Can't wait to see who's next.
It's Hump Day.
All right, it's time for further review. Glad you're with us. Muso is off tomorrow and Friday. He will. You're going to on a boat somewhere.
Yeah.
A boat. Are you going to listen to the T-Pain "Lonely Island" song on a boat just on repeat?
Yes.
Do you even know what that is? Okay. Well,
Yes,
don't say
yes,
you
I
can't.
know, yes.
We've established you can't say "of course" because there are things that are very common things that you don't know. So we don't jive. So I feel like I have to ask. There are things in pop culture that maybe you don't know. I don't know. That's what was on a boat 10 years ago? I mean, it's possible you wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, probably 8 years ago, 2008, I believe it came out.
No. Look it up, and we'll see. But anyway, that's what I would listen to if I was on a boat. On repeat. I'm riding on a dolphin, doing flips and
bleep.
Yeah. Got it. All right, Russ Mitchell in 10 minutes from right now. Ed Ogeron, during his visit with Off the Bench, was asked about Russ Callaway. And you may go, who? Well, Russ Callaway is a new analyst on LSU staff. And this is really an interesting hire because you're talking about a young guy at 31 years old who was an offensive coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator for 5 years at Samford. And he left an on-field coordinator position to join LSU in an off-field role. This is what Ed Ogeron said on Off the Bench Tuesday about Russ Callaway.
A tremendous, I think Russ is going to be a great coach in college football. And he's already proved himself at Stanford. He had one of the best offenses in the country. He's Coach Ensminger's right-hand man. Prepares a lot of tape for him and does a lot of work for us. Has a lot of energy. I think he is a great young coach.
The part of that soundbite from Ed Ogeron that resonated the most with me was him saying he's Coach Ensminger's right-hand man. You do realize who was Steve Ensminger's right-hand man a year ago, don't you? It was George Munoz. You know, whenever Joe Burrow won the Heisman and there was Ed Ogeron and Steve Ensminger and Joe Brady and then the dark-haired fella that nobody really knew who he was, that was George Munoz that we all now know, who Dave Aranda hired to be his passing game coordinator at Baylor. And the secret's kind of out now on who Munoz was and how big of a deal he was at LSU. Had led record-setting offenses at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette as their offensive coordinator, then came to LSU, and he was the guy, along with Ensminger, who worked with the quarterbacks, not Joe Brady. He worked with receivers. That guy's replacement is Russ Callaway. If the replacement is as good as the guy he replaced, that guy's got a really bright future in coaching. But what's really interesting to me when you look at a guy like Russ Callaway or a guy like George Munoz, who both left on-field coaching positions to join LSU in an analyst role, I think what we are seeing is this fascination about how the analyst role has become the new training ground for young assistants. It used to be, when you were a coach, the trajectory of your coaching path was always you'd be a grad assistant, right? You'd be a grad assistant, and then you'd work and get that on-field job at a lower-level school, and you'd try to elbow room your way into an assistant job in a Power 5 school and then continue to work your way up, and that usually took a couple of decades. Like, look at Coach O. Ed Ogeron started in 1984 as a GA at Northwestern State, and then a year later was a GA at McNeese. So he went grad assistant at Northwestern, grad assistant at McNeese, to being Arkansas's assistant strength coach, to then getting the D-line job at Miami in 88, and then worked his way from there. I mean, that's typically how the trajectory goes. You could look at, just look at that generation of coaches in their 50s or 60s now that followed that path to get where they are. Look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban's first job was as a GA at Kent State, his alma mater, then was a position coach at Kent State, and then a position coach at Syracuse, and then a position coach at West Virginia, and then DB coach at Ohio State, then the DB coach at Navy, and then he went to Michigan State and became a coordinator, then jumped to the Oilers, and then became a head coach at Toledo. It's like, and that was all from 1973 to 1990. Typically, you take this circuitous route to becoming a head coach, but it starts with being a GA and working your way up through low-level jobs. What you're seeing now is guys saying, instead of going and working in a 1AA or FCS school as a GA or a position coach and trying to spend a decade to try to get into the Power 5 as a position coach and then maybe work my way to a coordinator and then a head coach job, what you're seeing is guys say, I'll come work for you as an analyst. Just let me in the door. Look at Munoz. 2 years as an analyst at LSU, and now he's a passing game coordinator in the Big 12. Look at LSU's analysts that Ogeron has hired. Munoz is now at Baylor. Remember DJ Mangus? DJ Mangus played at William & Mary with Joe Brady. He was an analyst here for the 1 year with Brady, and Brady took him to the Panthers. He's in the NFL now as an assistant. 1 year. Bill Johnson came to LSU as an analyst, and then coaching carousel spins. Bill Johnson's LSU's defensive line coach. Greg McMahon came to LSU as an analyst. Remember? He was like the special teams consultant. He was an analyst. And they were going to divvy up all the special teams roles in 2017. And then a year later, they approved the 10th assistant, and now he's the special teams coordinator. It's interesting to me when you look at the analyst positions and how a place like LSU, and I can't speak to every program because I don't follow every program as deeply as I do LSU, of course, but how these coaches are looking at that roster of analysts and essentially using it as their bullpen. Like, that's how they're building bench depth in the event that a coach leaves. And the guy who started all of this is Saban. When he got guys like Lane Kiffin and Sarkisian to come on board as analysts, Dan Enos as an analyst, these great coaches basically in his bullpen for the inevitability that a coach gets poached, because when you're winning, everybody wants a part of the winning culture. The Patriots have dealt with this forever. Bama's dealt with it. LSU's going to deal with it as well, and I think Ed knows it. Look at what's happened. Aranda gets hired. He takes with him Dennis Johnson and George Munoz. Joe Brady gets hired away. Like, you keep winning, that's what's going to happen. People are going to want to replicate your culture and get pieces of it to replicate it themselves. So you better have your bench depth. And he's building it. Looks like Russ Callaway sort of the next guy. Another one, of course, is our good friend Christian Locketcher. And Ed Ogeron has raved about Locketcher, and about his ability to recruit and what he's been able to do with the defensive line. Talked about that, Christian's senior year, what was supposed to be his senior year, tore his ACL, and he was the guy who would be putting the team through their pregame defensive line drills. I mean, I can remember watching Lack with the knee brace on, standing there under the goalpost pregame, having guys go through the goalpost where they're firing out of their stance, popping the goalpost pad. Like, he kind of became a player coach that year, and of course came back and played his senior season in 2017. But now he's a guy as a GA that's looking like he's ascending fast in that role as well. So I find this fascinating because I think what we're seeing is a cultural shift in college coaching where guys aren't maybe as eager to take the lower level on-field jobs when a Power 5 analyst role maybe won't be super lucrative, but it gets you in the door, and it's a I don't want to call it a shortcut, but it's a different path. It's like if you're on the tee box and the dog leg's to the right, but you got a long enough drive to clear the trees and just cut that dog leg. It's almost like that's what these analysts are doing. Makes a lot of sense. And LSU's had really good success with them already. And maybe Russ Callaway's the next one. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you're with us. Quick break. Russ Mitchell joins us next on AFR, presented by Pluckers.
AFR.
Love telling you about Premier South Roofing and PremierSouthLA.com. Roofing is something, let's be honest, that not many of us know a lot about, unless if you're a roofer. Most of us don't ever go get up on our roof. Most of us can't tell if we have a damaged shingle. We have no idea what we're looking for, even if you do get up on your roof. That's why it's important to call Premier South Roofing. If you've had high wind or heavy rain or hail or anything like that in your area, it's important to call Premier South Roofing because they can come out to your house, get up on the roof, inspect your roof, and let you know if you have a problem. If you don't, awesome. They'll shake your hand and be on their way. No charge at all. But if you do have an issue and need a repair, in so many instances, you only pay your insurance deductible. Well, Premier South Roofing can handle that whole process. They can contact your insurance company. They can file all the claim and everything like that. And again, you only pay your deductible. Call Premier South Roofing, 757-6621. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, North Shore, or online, PremierSouthLA.com.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas.
and I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. Russ Mitchell.
Kicking the tires and lighting the fires. Russ! Literally.
Well, I'm proud of Russ. I think Russ deserves it.
If they give you a nickname, you're good.
Rusty, come on up here. I'm getting tired of saying Tigers. There's too many Tigers in the league already.
I want you to stay here and take care of things, Russ.
You know, I mean, they're going to run this kid around like a rented step-headed mule.
You know, I haven't had much of a chance to talk to you man to man, Russ.
I'm a guy who spends all day breaking down Kentucky football.
Not going in our yard, Russ. It's going in our living room.
And I'm calling you out, man. We'll cut this clip and send it out there to Spurrier and the fellas.
It's like Troy.
Take it, Russ.
All right, let's do it. Russ Mitchell, college football news. He's on Twitter at Russ Mitchell CFB. And he's good enough to join us. I have a surprise for you. Oh, by the way, how are you?
Get your act together, man. I am kicking the tires and lighting the fire.
Okay, I have a surprise for you.
Oh, good. I like surprises.
Here's a little tidbit of Coach O talking about you.
I think Ross is going to be a great.
Wait, start it over. He talked. Wait, start it over.
I think Ross is going to be a great coach in college football.
That's the only part you cut out. What do you think about that?
You gotta add that. You gotta add that to the intro, baby.
We'll do it. He was talking about Russ Callaway, one of LSU's new analysts, but I think we're gonna add it. I mean, if we got Mark Rick,
gotta add it.
If we got Mark Rick talking about Russ, the bulldog that became Uga. You know, I think Russ deserves it. I think that's what that's from. I think
Yeah.
we need to add
Oh,
Coach
yeah,
O
yeah.
saying Russ is going to be a great coach in college football.
Absolutely. We got to get that in there, Rad. That's funny. Thank you for putting a smile on my face because I've been kind of really bummed over the last hour, so I appreciate that.
Do you have anything in the Yeti today?
No, but I'm going to go make something right now.
Good, because you told me yesterday that you were going to pour a drink during the show.
Yeah, and I need to go. I need to go pour a drink.
Okay.
This news out of the Ivy League today is. I mean, I wish I could say that I didn't see this coming, but yeah.
All right, we'll get to that in a second. But you did say to me via text when we were chatting on Monday that you know what you want to talk about today because you said,
I did.
I just figured out what I want to be when I grow up. And then you said, I will have a cocktail on Wednesday. So you're 0 for 1, but you're going to rectify that by pouring a cocktail. What do you want to be when you grow up, Russ?
I've decided. Hold on, let me pour this drink.
Okay. What do you drink? Tell us what you're pouring.
But I'm going to pour a Sierra Nevada hazy little thing IPA.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Actually, it's a really good choice because I don't have time to mix something right now.
No, I got you. I got you. By the way, do you like the podcast How I Built This?
Yeah, no, I love that podcast.
Really good podcast. They did an episode with the guy who's the founder of Sierra Nevada, and basically about how he built that into, I think, the third largest microbrew in the country behind Yinling, Sam Adams, and then Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, and one of the first, And,
yeah, absolutely.
And when I grew up, that was the, the core Sierra Nevada was the first thing you could drink, really. That was, a craft beer.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was the question again?
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I've decided I want to be the most interesting man in the world. That's what I want to be when I grow up.
From the Dos Equis commercial?
Yeah, that's my goal from now on. Like, I've decided that,
You know he got fired.
No, he did not get fired.
Russ, this has been several years. The most interesting man in the world got fired. He's not part of the campaign anymore.
I know, but it doesn't matter. That's who I want to be. I'm not talking about in the commercial.
Oh.
I don't want to be that guy,
man.
Okay. That's what I've decided. I'm going to just everything I do for the rest of my life, I'm going to devote towards trying to be that guy.
You're going to be a fired pitch man, a fired beer pitch man.
He did not get fired.
He got fired.
Quit. Do you know the story about that guy? We're not going to go through the whole thing on air.
They decided they wanted to appeal to a younger demographic, so they got rid of the old guy with the white hair and the white beard. Yes, that's what happened.
Dude, that is absolutely not what happened.
That is absolutely.
All right, we'll do some research on this offline, and we'll get back to it.
Okay. All right.
Let's talk about something far more critical as it relates to the mental health of me.
Okay.
And I would imagine a significant percentage of the listeners.
All right. So the Ivy League you want to talk about the Ivy League, which announced that they're not going to play any fall sports.
Any sports. Have you discussed this already on the show?
A little bit, yeah, we did. Yeah. It was last hour, so new audience, so feel free.
So a couple of things. I mean, first of all, the Ivy League is obviously unique. Money is not as critical to the Ivy League as the money generated from sports is not as critical to the Ivy League in terms of the health and well-being of the overall school. They have very, very large endowments.
Right.
So they exist in it. They exist in a universe that has different pressures, financial pressures. That being said, and you and I talk about this with your listeners all the time. The presidents, it's not the NCAA, it's not the commissioners, it's the presidents of the university. They're the ones that have the power. And the presidents of the Ivy League schools, not surprisingly, have a lot of cachet, and a lot of the other presidents at the various different schools look to them and see what they do. So the fact that these 8 presidents, they have great influence. among university leaders around the country. And for them to make this decision, which again, not terribly surprising, but for them to come out and do it is certainly a bellwether and a likely indication that we'll see the rest of the country start to move in this direction.
I'm not sure I could disagree more with you on that.
I know you've been this way since March.
But you've been this
So
way since March.
I know, but except that I'm right.
But you're not,
Yeah.
because here's the difference. And
Oh, it just happened. Obviously
Russ,
I'm
hold
right.
on. It alludes to the point that you made earlier, which is the Ivy League. The Ivy League exists in a completely different realm. For athletics, they don't rely on TV revenue. They really don't rely on that revenue at all.
They don't care.
They
No, they don't
need,
care about
for
anything.
anything to fund their athletics, they need gate receipts, is what they need. And if there's a scenario where they're not going to allow fans, it's not even a lost leader because they're not even leading. It's like a business that just it costs them money. They lose money just by opening their doors. It's better just to not do it and front it however you want. The bottom line is, in places like the SEC, when you have 9- and 10-figure television contracts, you're going to lose on gate receipts if there's no fans or limited fans, obviously. But just airing the games and having guys playing games in empty stadiums is going to net you the TV revenue, which they need to not be a complete and total loss in their athletic budget. So the Power Five is going to play, even if it's in empty stadiums, even if they delay it, they're going to play football this fall.
Yeah. Why is it that the Ivy League decided not to play any sports in the first half of this?
I just told you.
School year? No. Why? What's the cause?
Because they're probably not going to allow fans in the stands.
It's because of the coronavirus, man.
Because they're not going to allow fans in the stands, or might not. So they're making that call now. Okay.
I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the health of the student that's the most important issue.
Okay, so then if that's the case, okay, hold on. We'll go there. If that's the case, then why are you going to let students on campus?
Well, obviously, that's part of the issue, isn't it? I mean, that's part of what the White House and the various different schools are fighting about now.
But this is the point. Like, this is where that argument gets completely misguided. And Jim Harbaugh talked about this today, and he's right. If you're going to allow students on campus, why is that an okay setting, but it's not okay for student athletes to play sports when you look at all of these other sports that are resuming their leagues? From my little nephew playing 10-year-old baseball up to the NBA resuming in a bubble. If it's okay to play.
It's a bit of a red herring, right? First of all, there's two different things. Allowing kids back on campus and playing sports like whatever, wrestling or football or anything like that is different than, say, social distancing in a classroom where you have a desk and I mean, they're not literally apples to apples. It's not a literal.
I would say it's actually safer in athletics because they have all of the protocols and the resources to test and to social distance and do whatever they need to do in that respect. If you have 22 guys on a football field that have all tested negative for the coronavirus, what's the big deal?
Man, if there's only one thing that we know for certain about this damn virus, it's that it attacks groups. If you're in a group, whether it's, and it doesn't matter age, it's not an old folks homes thing, whether you're a prison with young people or a meatpacking plant or anywhere that you put a bunch of people together in one area, that's not good in terms of this highly contagious disease. So if you've got a bunch of people, 80 people, and they throw all the coaches and support staff and everything together, 100 people that are always around each other, or a classroom of 60 people that are all around each other all the time, you're going to increase the likelihood that you're going to have a contagious event, right?
And what I just said is you test people and they're negative and they go play. That's fine. You get a bunch of people that tested negative together. That's okay. The bigger risk I would argue is in a classroom indoors with, say, Dotson Auditorium at LSU that could seat 300 students that you can't test all 300 and you don't know who are walking in. So my point is, why are we only looking at sports and not that side of things as well? And that's the point Jim Harbaugh was making. If it's okay, if you're saying it's okay to welcome these students on campus, then why is it not okay to play? And they're going to move forward and they're going to allow students on campus and they're going to play because 98% of the people who get this virus are going to be just fine. That number is going to keep dropping as it has all along, and we're learning a lot
First
more
of all,
about it.
that's erroneous. 98% of people aren't going to be just fine. We've seen over and over and over again that of the people that get hit with this virus, 80%, like 30% of them show no signs at all. You end up with like 80% of them have barely nothing. But then of the 20% that are left, 10% or, half of those people get sick, not badly, but sick, and 10% up in ICUs, and 2% die. You're talking about deaths. But getting sick, it could scar your lungs and mess you up for life.
And you can, and Russ, and eating fatty foods can kill you too, and it can hurt your heart. And we're gonna make. No, I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop, Russ. I'm not gonna stop because the fact of the matter is,
there's lots of things in the world that can kill you, man.
Yes, there are. Which is why you choose what risks that you want to absorb, and you go on living your life. That's
that's
the
bullshit
bottom line.
because that's just about
come on.
That's just about you. That's just about you as an individual. You make a choice for yourself. But in terms of like hurting other people and having an impact on other people,
then don't go
that's
out.
what you're talking about.
Then don't go out. Then don't go.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Russ, listen, we can have this conversation every year during cold and flu season. But we don't ever focus on that. I am going to, Russ, because the demographic that you're talking about that's at risk is my son, and you know that. And when he gets RSV and he gets flu, it's devastating. And we've had to put him back. And we've had to put him back. I've had to, in the middle of the night, with a pulse oximeter alarming on my son's blood oxygen saturation levels, had to re-oxygenate my son with tubing and you want to start don't tell me flu doesn't compare, because people who are at risk, damn it, it does compare. It does matter for people who are at risk.
I'm not saying that it's not at risk. What I'm saying is that comparing this to the flu, I'm not saying the flu doesn't cause serious risk and kill lots of people, but the flu isn't nearly as contagious as this thing, and it also doesn't kill. This kills way more people than the flu kills.
So 80,000 Americans dying from the flu, not a big deal. We'll just bypass that.
I never said that, man.
But Russ, this is the point, though.
I'm not comparing it because it's not.
But this is the point. At what point is the risk level assumed by the people okay? That's my point. So we're comparing. Okay, well, this is 120,000 deaths, but the flu is only 60,000 deaths, so it's not as bad. So we can go do whatever we want during flu season. But because this is COVID, then we're not going to go out. The point is we should all be more responsible all the time. We should all wash our hands. My hope, sincerely, is as a result of this, every human being is more socially responsible with respect to things like this. Washing your hands, covering your sneezes and coughs. If you're sick, stay your ass at home. Don't go to work. Don't try to be a tough guy. Those are the types of things that can protect people, regardless of if it's COVID, if it's flu, if it's RSV, any of these things that are contagious respiratory viruses that do put people at risk. But I've had to learn for 6 years how to live with that always impending threat to Drew, and we've accepted that risk, and we always take precautions that within the realm of what we can do. But you still have to live your life. We can't just put Drew in a box forever and say, well, buddy, you might get a respiratory virus, so we can't ever do anything. You got to find that balance, man. And I think that's where most people are right now is figuring out how do we live with this as part of our society to continue living, though.
Yeah, and it's so funny because my wife is a pediatric intensive care nurse.
Yep.
And during the flu season, my wife is petrified of the flu.
Dude, it sucks.
My wife washes her hands all the time, and I never have. I mean, I try, but my wife is like, "Do you realize the flu is out there?" What concerns me is, and this ultimately, and you and I have talked about this again offline, but is that the healthcare system in this country is only built it's a capitalistic system that's only built to withstand normalcy. We don't have the capacity to take more than what we normally have. And this is and I'm in Arizona right now where I don't know if people are paying attention, but it is we just passed a thing on Sunday night that allows hospitals here to basically allow people to die. They can choose which people to cure and which people they just put on aside and don't, because we've run out of stuff. We've run out of people.
But that's
we
not.
We don't have the people here in Arizona. But my point is, this virus, which nobody has immunity to, gets people far more infected than the flu does. So it puts more people in the hospital. That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about deaths.
You know what's interesting though, like, and we're so late, but no, I know you're in Arizona, which has obviously had a major spike, as has Texas, our neighboring state. But here, even in the spike of cases, Russ, people largely aren't being hospitalized. Like, I was talking to...
Yeah, because they're younger.
This goes back. So then if we go back to where we started, when you're talking about 18 to 22-year-old football players, they're going to be good. Like, which is why, like, okay, go play, man. Like, because you're... like what we've seen from this is you're probably going to be fine. So are you willing to assume the risk? And if not, then don't.
A school is full of people that aren't young.
Then those people don't go.
Well, who's going to teach the kids?
Well, younger professors or people who are willing to assume the risk and go wear a mask and social distance and stand at the front of the class and say, don't come up here and don't touch doorknobs. And there are ways to do it, man. I guess that's the point.
I love you, brother. I love you.
I
love everybody. I really do. Even people that are jerks on the internet. I'll tell you this. If we'd all just worn damn masks in the beginning, we wouldn't have as much of a problem as we have right now.
Well,
so if you really want to have a football season,
we're gonna have
wear a mask.
We're gonna have a football season, Russ.
I hope to God, because if we don't have a football season, and I have to stay at home, I don't know what I will do. If we don't have a football system, if we don't have a football season, and I have to stay at home, I'll be 350.
I was gonna say, you know what's gonna happen?
I'll be over 300 pounds by the end of that, man.
You are gonna be holed up in your home, drinking cases of Sierra Nevada, and you're gonna weigh 300 pounds.
I'm a big man, dude. I'll be huge. I'll be huge.
Hey, come to Louisiana. We're really doing good here, man. Just come over here. Come hang.
I would love to come. I'd love to. Do you realize this is the longest I haven't been on an airplane? This is the longest I've gone without being on an airplane in my career.
That's amazing.
30 years.
That is amazing. How long?
Over 30 years.
No. How long when was your last flight?
March, middle of March.
So 4 months. You've never gone longer than 4 months without being on a plane?
I've never gone longer than 30 days without being on a plane. In 30 years, I've not gone longer than 30 days without being on a plane.
I want to be Russ Mitchell when I grow up.
No, you don't. That sounds like so much fun. Everybody thinks it sounds like so much fun until you're sitting eating until you get to a hotel and there's no room service and you're eating out of the what do you call the machine that you put, the
vending machine.
The vending machine. You're eating your dinner out of a vending machine.
That sounds like college.
In the morning. Every sales guy right now who's nodding his head going, yeah, I know that.
That's about right.
All right, I'll talk. Hey.
Yep, go ahead.
We'll talk next week. I love you, man.
I love you too, Russ. We'll see you, man. That's
All right.
Russ Mitchell.
Bye.
College football news bemoaning the loss of the Ivy League, but Power 5 still going to play. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Very apropos that we would talk about Baton Rouge General right now after that segment, because the Baton Rouge General Hospital has been spectacular amid the COVID shutdown and everything that has happened in our city, as so many healthcare professionals have worked to keep all of us healthy and safe as best they can. brgeneral.org is where you can find more info. brgeneral.org. They are part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network. Essentially what that means is that the Baton Rouge General doctors have access to conference calls and to all of the research where they can consult with the professionals at the Mayo Clinic up in Minnesota. And they have exclusivity here in Baton Rouge. So you get all of the access to the world-renowned physicians at the Mayo Clinic at no charge to you. It's the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Make sure you download their app or check them out online at brgeneral.org. brgeneral.org. Surgery Fast Pass is there. Lots of great resources. It's the Baton Rouge General Hospital. brgeneral.org.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, We've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, this has to be like a super short segment because we went so long with Ross. Somebody on Twitter said, Matt, you sound like something we don't know about COVID-19. Like you know something we don't know about COVID-19. Life is more important than sports. That's all I know. Risk their life for entertainment, SMH. That's Coach J. Smith 1. Clearly, you missed the point of the last 20 minutes. Either that or I didn't articulate it well enough. I didn't say risk your life for sports. At no point did I ever say that. And maybe perhaps you missed the point where I expressed something that I don't often do here because I don't think it's the platform to do it. But a lot of the intricacies that my family deals with our son, who is always at risk with respiratory viruses. And we've learned over the last 6 years how to live with them. I may not be a doctor. A doctor is diagnose and treat. I'll never do that. But I am, without question, without a doubt, an expert at knowing how to live with the threat of a respiratory virus to someone in your family. Because I have lived with that threat every day of my life, not just during cold and flu season, every day of my life since my son was born. Think about how much you love your kids, and then think about what you would do to protect them. That's what I live every single day with this kind of threat. So COVID isn't anything new for me. So do I know something more than you? Apparently I do, a lot. Because what the world's trying to figure out now, me and Erica have had to do with Drew for the last 6 years. And again, I don't like going down this path here because, as I always say, this is a sports talk show. And I know COVID and sports have blended now with how sports will proceed in this environment, but I don't mind talking about that. But the nuances of the virus and all that sort of stuff, that's not for here. And I don't want that to be for here. But what was his name? Coach Jay Smith. You're damn right. I know a lot more than you about this. I know a lot more about how to live your life, about how to attempt to live as normal a life as you can while taking the necessary precautions to protect someone you love. I am a freaking expert at that because that has been every waking day of my life since my son was born. So this is the last day that Muso is on our show. Jimmy Ott's coming up in about 5 minutes for Otter Locks. We'll do what we learned, all this stuff. I wonder if he's got a good one. Did his ping pong hit? Did that hit? Do we know?
It was soccer.
What about his? What about the soccer thing? Did the parlay? Did that work out? What do we know?
Idea. I don't know. We'll have to ask him.
Okay, we'll have to find out for sure. Muso, what's been the best part about working on the show?
Well, that's putting on the spot there, isn't it? I don't know.
Quick, make something up. Muso, how much do you love working on AFR? This is gonna be really awkward whenever you come back.
Yeah,
because you're gonna come back, and then I'm gonna make it really hard to work with me when you come back.
Harder than now? Than the past year?
Look at Paul.
Man. Can't wait for that one.
All right, Muso's going on vacation for the next couple of days. So going out on vacation. So I'm sorry, Cade will be in, right?
Yeah,
this is like a real Back to the Future. CV, the OG AFR producer. So CV will be in here for a couple of days for Friday and for Thursday and Friday. Muso will be out, and then when Muso gets back on Monday, he'll be permanently on off the bench, and Brian Haldane will be back on AFR. Many of you know we had a shakeup. But in all seriousness, the joking aside, we had a shakeup over here. We certainly changed some of our lineup, but we also lost some people, and none of it was performance related. It was all COVID related. But we said goodbye to some of our friends and coworkers, and it's required a lot of us to take on extra responsibilities. So Haldane is going to still do his morning show on Talk 107.3, then come back in the afternoon and produce AFR. Muso's going to go to mornings on OTB, obviously, to fill that void there. So we will. So that will be on Monday. All right, it's after further review. As I mentioned, we had to do a quick segment here because we went very long with Russ with all the yelling and screaming and all that good stuff. But we'll come back, wrap up. Jimmy Ott will be here for Otter Locks. He'll give you some winners, and then we'll do what we learned. Stick around. AFR, presented by Pluckers.
AFR.
If you're looking for dinner plans tonight, Ichiban, Essen near Perkins, Airline Highway in Gonzales. Make tonight an Ichiban night. Either location, awesome spot if you want to have a fantastic sushi meal or an entertaining hibachi meal. It's Ichiban. They got expertly trained hibachi chefs. So if you go sit up at any of their hibachi tables, you can have your dinner prepared for you in an entertaining fashion. Great way to entertain a client, or you want a fun date night. That's a great thing to do if you want to do hibachi. The sushi, though, is outstanding. Voted by you the best sushi in the Best of 225 for the last, however long they've been awarding best sushi. That's been Ichiban every year. And again, last week we found out, again, best sushi in the Best of 225 awards at Ichiban. 2 locations, Essen near Perkins, Airline Highway in Gonzales. So if you're in Ascension Parish, you go south past 44. It's about a mile down on the right. You can't miss it. It's Ichiban, Essen near Perkins, Airline Highway in Gonzales. Make tonight an Ichiban night.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Tell them that's what we're ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Do we see the confetti fall?
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Let's talk to the otter for little otter locks.
Happy lock of the week.
Oh, you don't
birthday. Happy lock of the week. Birthday. Lock of the week, Liverpool.
When you went,
what's up,
la,
man?
la, la, Liverpool. You're so stupid. All right, what's going on, man? Where are you tonight?
Snow Seafood and Steak. My man Mincy already knocked back the grilled seafood platter. I mean, a little steak and a nice glass of wine after. You know, just over here in Gonzales, man. Almost 60 years here in Gonzales at the Sheets family, a third-generation restaurant, and it's been a regular staple over here at Snow's Airline Highway 74 in Gonzales.
This ain't a commercial for Snows, bro. We're here to get picks. Come on, you can do your Snows. You can do your Snows commercial coming up in 8 minutes.
Get your pin down. Get your pin down.
I'm ready.
Liverpool, by the way, the quickest to 30 wins in Premier League history. How about that?
All right.
How about I took a tough one on Wolves? 94-minute game. Okay, 4 minutes of extra time. 93-40 corner kick header beats me.
Oh, so your Wolves lost?
Yes.
Wait,
yes.
What about your other one? What about your other pick?
Liverpool won 3-1.
Okay, so Liverpool wins, Wolves loses. What's our pick tonight? What are we playing, Otter?
Playing for the golf tournament tomorrow, okay? Got your first round leader, Bubba Watson, at 25-1, okay? That's it to be the leader after round one. Here's head-to-head matchups, okay? Sunjae Yim, -1.5 versus Patrick Reed. Hideki Matsuyama, +1.5 against Justin Thomas. And Victor Hovland of Oklahoma State versus John Rahm. That's your first. That's how we bet these golf, Matt. It is hard to win the whole tournament. But the matchups are very, very popular. Last week's handle in the tournament that DeChambeau won, 5 times the usual handle for that tournament.
Oh.
This is a course that's going to be it's a Nicklaus course. So the comps are Augusta, Riviera,
Yes,
Firestone. Watson is one at several at those. Bubba Watson 60-1 to win this tournament.
Incredible.
Kepka's another. We'll give you 4 golfers to win the whole tournament.
All right.
Hovland, Matsuyama, Bubba Watson, and Brooks Koepka.
I had no idea you were such a golf aficionado.
I'm evolving, baby. Okay, game time.
The Otter, game time with Jimmy Ott. They are at Snow's Seafood and Steak, awesome place. They're in Gonzales. Y'all check out the Otter tonight on Game Time. You can listen here in Baton Rouge.
Now that you're old,
go ahead.
Now that you're old, you know what Boom Boom Becker is, huh? I mean, you're so much older today.
Get out of here. I got to go wrap up my show. Jimmy Ott's coming up. Make sure you're checking out Game Time with Jimmy Ott on Facebook. He's got the Facebook live stream, or you can listen right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. All right, what did we learn today? Muso, go.
I learned that LSU used Billy Cannon's ring in the graphics.
That is really cool. In the photo shoot, they got of the 4 championship rings, the 58 ring is Billy Cannon's ring because they wanted Billy Cannon and Burrow's rings in the same graphic. Really cool. Paulie, what did you learn?
I learned Cliff Kingsbury can predict the future.
How about that, man? What a pick. Said 2 years ago Mahomes would be the highest paid athlete in the history of the game. Unreal.
What'd you learn, Matt?
Ott's a degenerate gambler at golf. Who knew? Havlin? It's I don't even know what he's talking about there. Muso, been real, man. Thanks for all the work. Appreciate that.
it.
Enjoy your time away and enjoy those 3 a.m. wake-up calls, bro. Look forward to that. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about the Williamson Eye Center, WilliamsonEye.com. WilliamsonEye.com, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's where you can find them if you want that free LASIK consultation. Dr. Blake Williamson, you can certainly do that. If you don't want to go in, if you're not comfortable, that's cool. They're offering virtual consults as well. They can do the virtual LASIK consultation at the Williamson Eye Center if you'd prefer to do that. All their locations are open and full service. They're taking all the necessary precautions with masks and gloves and everything that you'd expect. And, of course, the newest location off of Suma on the Bluebonnet Baton Rouge General Campus. So you turn off of Bluebonnet onto Suma. You come up to that first light right there on the corner, right there on your right in that building. That's where the Williamson Eye Center is. Fully operational center there at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend